Okay, so the key terms and symbols for inequalities that we need to go over. What does is less than look like?
The sign less than is the one that's pointing this way.
Mm-hmm. The arrow is pointing to the left. So is less than looks like this. Greater than means it's pointing to the right. Okay? Then is less than or equal to left and line under it. So the ones that you're going to see is less than or equal to is at most, which means at the very most that's what it is, but it could be less than, and is no more than. And then is greater than or equal to points to the right and has the line under it, and it is at least. Okay? So you're going to see all this terminology as we go through these problems. So looking at number 1, it says twice a number increased by 7 is greater than 29. So twice a number is 2x. What does increase mean? Plus 7. What does is mean? Is greater than? Arrow pointing to the right, or inequality sign pointing to the right, and then 29. Okay? So there's our equation. I'm going to write it over here so it's not so spaced out. 2x plus 7 is greater than 29. And then from here we're going to solve for x. So we subtract 7 from both sides. That gives me 2x is greater than 22. Then we divide by 2. And x is greater than 11. And so that means that we come down here and put our tick mark, and 11, is it going to be an open or closed dot? Open. And which way is it facing? To the right. Okay. Is that pretty easy? Okay. Now, this terminology is where a lot of people get confused. So let's try to write what we can from this. We have 5 times a number. How would I write that?
5x.
5x. Decreased is minus 10. Is at least. Okay, let me talk about it. Is at least means it's the very least it can be. So if I want at least 5 apples, okay, then that means I can have no less than 5, but could I have more? Yes. Okay, so is at least would be greater than or equal to 25. Very good. Okay, so from here we need to solve for x. So what would we do first? Add 10 to both sides. That gives us 5x is greater than or equal to 35. We divide by 5. And x is greater than or equal to 7. So when we graph it, we put our tick mark, our 7. Would it be open or closed dot? Closed. And which way is it facing? The right. Okay? Perfect. Yes.
Later on in this semester, are we gonna have to learn? Oh wait, no.
Okay. Let's look at number 3. So number 3 says 3 times a number plus 5 is at most 17. So 3 times a number is 3x plus 5. Now, is at most. I normally use is at most when I'm talking about like spending money. Like I want to spend at the most $20. Okay? So does that mean I want to spend more? No. It can be 20 or it can be less. So this needs to be less than or equal to 17. So most means no higher, least means no lower. Okay? So from here we would subtract 5 from both sides. This would give us 3x is less than or equal to 12. We would divide by 3. And x would be less than or equal to 4. So when we graph that, we put our tick mark. Our 4 is an open or closed dot? Closed. And which way is it facing? The left. Very good. Okay, let's try number 5. Number 5 is phrased a little bit different. So it says, when a student subtracts 10 from a number, the result is less than triple the number. Very good. X minus 10 is less than, so it means it's pointing to the left. 3x. Perfect. Y'all did that a lot better than I thought. All right, so from here, we want to get x by itself, or all on one side. So would you move 3x or would you move x? Okay, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides. That's going to give me negative 10 is less than 2x. Then I would divide by 2. So make sure you write this out before you decide to flip it, because a lot of people don't write it out and then they end up messing it up. So it would be negative 5 is less than x. Now, I want to look at the inequality sign. Which is this arrow pointing to 5 or to x? To 5. So when I flip it, I want to make sure that arrow is still pointing to negative 5. Okay, and then when we graph it, we put our tick mark. Negative 5, would it be open or closed dot? Open, and which way is it facing? Isn't it facing the right?
Oh, I was looking at the line before.
Oh. Okay, how do y'all feel about those so far? Is everybody with me? Okay. Let's look at the back then. Okay, so number 1 on the back says Maria sleeps more than 7 hours each night. Okay, so they want us to write an inequality for it and then graph it. So let's use S for sleep. So is sleep more than 7 hours? So how would I write that? So like that is more than 7. So sleep is more than 7. That's right. So when I graph this, I'd put 7, open dot, and it would be greater than 7. Does that make sense? Because it doesn't say that she sleeps less than 7 hours. She sleeps more than 7. How many of you sleep more than 7 hours? That's what I thought. All right, let's look at number 2. So number 2 says, as of August 1996, the speed limit on rural interstates in North Carolina is 70 miles per hour. Okay? Now, I know that not everyone abides by the speed limit, but if you abided by the speed limit, okay, would it be 70 or less or 70 or more? 70 or less. So let's do, you want to do S again for speed limit? So should your speed be greater than or equal to 70 or less than or equal to 7? Less than or equal to 70. Okay, so if we graph that, put your dash, put your 70. It would be a closed dot to the left. Okay, when y'all start driving, that's how it should be. 70 or less. Okay, number 3. So these are getting a little more wordy. So number 3 says, Joy wants to save at least $40 for her trip to the amusement park. So at least, does that mean she could have less or she could have more? More. She needs at least 40, but we could have more. So let's put greater than or equal to 40. Okay? And then we're going to figure out what we put on the other side, because who wouldn't want more money to spend? To be able to spend. Okay, so then it says, so far she has $32. She plans to save D more dollars. What are the possible values of D? So she has 32 right now, and she's going to save D more. So would I add those together, subtract them, multiply, or divide? Add. Because if you have some money and you're going to get more, what are you going to do with both things of money? You put them together. You add them together. So it would be D plus 32 is greater than 40. Thank you. Greater than or equal to 40. So from here, to find the possible values of D, we're just going to get D by itself. So I would need to move this 32 to the other side by what? Subtracting 32. So that would give me D could be greater than or equal to $8. We didn't lose money. We're seeing how much more she needs to save. She needs to save at least 8, or she could save more if she wanted more than $40. Okay, so then we graph that, put our tick mark and our 8. It is a closed dot going to the right. Okay, we'll look at a few more like those to make sure you got them. Okay, number 4 says Eleanor needs to read at least 97 pages of her book for homework. So does at least mean she can read more or less than 97? More. So we're going to put greater than or equal to 97. She has already read 34 pages, so we're going to put 34 here. She plans to read P more. So it would be, you can do 34 plus P or P plus 34. I always like my variable to come first, okay? Then they want us to find the possible values of P. So if she's already read 34, we're going to subtract that from the total she needs to read. So P would have to be greater than or equal to 63. She still has a lot of pages to read. So she has to read at least 63 pages. So if we go over here and we graph this, we're going to put a tick mark with 63. It is a closed dot to the right. Very good. Okay, we ready to try the next one? Okay, so 5 says Trey is limiting his diet to no more than 600 calories. Yes, so it would have to be less than or equal to 600 because he doesn't want to eat more than 600. By the way, 600 is not healthy. Oh, per meal. It can be, it's healthy for meals. I was thinking all day. That's not much food. Okay? So it says for lunch, he had a can of iced tea and 2 bowls of soup. The tea had 140 calories. One bowl of soup had B calories. What are the possible numbers of calories in each bowl? So we know he had 140. And then how many bowls of soup?
We don't know.
Yeah, it did. How many bowls? 2. So if the bowl of soup is B, then it would be?
2B plus 140 is greater than or equal to.
Is less than or equal to 600.
I had it right the first
Okay, so from here we want to solve for b, so we subtract 140. That gives me 2b is less than or equal to 460. And b is less than or equal to 230. Okay, so we put our tick mark, our 230. Is it open or closed dot?
Closed.
And which way is it facing? The left. Perfect. Okay. Last one. It says Paul has a gift card for $100 at Target. Okay? So does he want to spend more than 100? No, because he just wants to use his gift card. So how much, would that be less than or equal to or greater than or equal to? Which one? Less than or equal to 100. Okay? It says he buys a sweatshirt for $16. Video games are on sale for $7. If the number of video games is V, what are the possible number of video games he could buy? Okay? So he already bought a sweatshirt, which was $16, plus, how would we write $7 for a game that is V? 7V. Very good. Okay, so to find the possible length, we would subtract 16. So 7V would be less than or equal to 84, right? Then we would divide by 7. And V would be less than or equal to 12. So put your tick mark, put 12. Is it open or closed dot?
Closed.
It's closed. Which way is it facing? The left.